We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Vikings Uncensored, back off hiatus, football back off hiatus. And of course, had to come on with a couple of tributes. Unfortunately, Gen X is having a very hard time this week. Starting off earlier this week, rock legend Ozzy Osbourne passed away only about a week and a half after he did his last concert. 76 years old. Ozzy was one of a kind. We'll put it that way.
I loved Ozzy. Great frontman. One of the greatest to ever live.
Yeah, I mean, whether it was with Black Sabbath or whether it was his solo stuff, I mean, he was a very unique individual, very unique voice, and rock music would be where it is today without Ozzy Osbourne.
I agree. Rest in peace.
Okay, favorite Ozzy tune, Ozzy or Black Sabbath? Which one? What's your favorite? Lance is so broken up. Apparently,
I got No More Tears. No More Tears.
No More Tears. That's a good one. It's hard to. It really is hard to pick one. Road to Nowhere. That's one of my favorite ones. Of course, you got so many. Paranoid. You've got, of course, the basic ones. Crazy Train. If I Close My Eyes Forever with Lita Ford, that's a very good song.
Great song.
I love that one. War Pigs, Josh. Yep. Electric Funeral, Diary of a Madman. Meet You on the Other Side, or See You on the Other Side. Sorry, that might be my favorite one. You tipped over there, Lance.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to come back in on the computer. This phone isn't working great.
All right. So while Brunswick comes back on, we can talk Ozzy here for a couple of minutes. Shot in the Dark, another good one. Paranoid. Mr. Crowley, another great one. I love that song. Ultimate Sin, Shot in the Dark. Yeah. I've been turning on the Ozzy Greatest Hits and listening to him the last couple of days on my way home from work, just because of of everything that's been going on with it. But Fairies Wear Boots, a duet with Lita Ford. Yeah, it's If I Close My Eyes Forever. I listened to that one tonight. I mean, you got Lita Ford in there. I mean, I had a big thing for Lita Ford back in the 80s, but that's neither here nor there. If my wife was watching, I love you, honey. Of course, at this point in time, I was like 7, 8 years old. So 10 years old in that area. So, but yeah, there was you just look at all of the catalog of his hits. Yes, absolutely, Drew. I will agree with that one. And of course, Ozzy, you know him for the hard rock stuff, but I probably enjoy, his power ballad stuff even more than maybe more than I do the up tempo stuff. I mean, there's a lot of, like we talked about, a lot of great songs that Ozzy had out, and it's he's of course been with Parkinson's for the last several years. Bark at the Moon Ant, that's another good one. But yeah, they had, saw that uh, concert the other night. Mama, I'm coming home. Nobody mentioned that one. That's obviously right up there. Um, the video from when he sang it here a week and a half ago has been up on all the social medias. I've seen that a couple times. I mean, you could tell he's sat the entire concert in a chair because he can't stand too much anymore, or couldn't do much anymore. But yeah, it was a I don't know. That's yeah. But again, we're getting old, guys. Another great one lost. That's a thing, Norsefius. I've talked about this with Brunswick's back. There you go. Talked about this with some of my buddies. We were actually doing a thing last weekend. We had the '80s here, and we're doing Ozzy. And you couldn't understand the thing the man said for the last 20 years, but he could still sing.
That's crazy. Yeah,
it's weird, but who's cutting onions? I'm not crying, Josh. You're crying. Damn it. Dave, good evening. Josh, Norsefius, Ant, Drew, everybody. Again, welcome back, everyone, and thank you guys for joining the return after a break. But we'll get over with the tributes here. But of course, the other one, breaking news this morning: Terry Bollea, also known as, of course, Hulk Hogan, passed away at the age of 71 this morning. Cardiac arrest. He's again, if you're a kid growing up in the 80s, everybody knew Hulk Hogan. Everybody followed Hulk Hogan. Eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and all that other stuff. And the 24-inch pythons and what you gonna do, brother, and all that stuff. Kind of stuff. But
right.
And not even just the 80s, the end of the 90s. Mid 90s, and of course the heel turn with the NWO. And then the redemption afterwards, going back to Hulk Hogan again at the end. Yeah, Ozzy got kicked out of Texas for pissing on the Alamo. Yeah. But yeah, and then of course Malcolm Jamal Warner earlier this week too, drowned.
Right.
So NWO was his best stuff. That was a question I was going to pose to Lance here and to you guys also in the chat. Do you prefer traditional Hulkamania Hulk Hogan or NWO Hulk Hogan?
I'm going to have to go with traditional. I mean, I grew up on that. I mean, I'm real American. No discredit to his NWO turn either. That was, historic.
Right. And to Ant's point, yeah, he did a heel turn very well, and
he played a hell of a heel. Yes.
It devastated the wrestling fandom, when you had Hall and Nash out there and a third person, in the ring that night, and then Hogan comes out and does the heel turn, and
kayfabe was still really big.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go the same thing. I got to go with the Doc. Good evening. But I got to go with the traditional, what I grew up on: Hulk Hogan, the American hero, like I said, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, defeated terrorism with the Iron Sheik, and defeated the Russians and Nikolai Volkov and all that other stuff. But
Thunder Lips, yeah.
Power of hindsight, red and yellow was pure. It was, Josh, but at that, during that era of wrestling, that's, most of these characters were that cheesy, cartoonish, larger than life kind of thing. And that's what brought wrestling to the point where it is now.
Exactly.
And then, in the mid 90s, when you kind of switched to the Attitude Era and more edgy, that's where the NWO came in on the CW side. And Hulk was a hell of a businessman. Whether, no matter what you thought about him personally and some of the other stuff he went through, but
Suburban Commando. It's a good movie.
Tropic Thunder or Thunder in Paradise or whatever.
Yep.
And there was a few other. His movies were absolute cheese. I mean, that they were horrible. And honestly, he was not really. He wasn't a great wrestler. He was just a great persona and a great, getting the shit kicked out of him, and all of a sudden it's
hawking up.
And
got a hawk up there at the end. Yep.
And then drops the big leg, and then
Yep. Game over.
Yep. So, but anyway, let's enough of the sad stuff. Let's get into why everybody's here tonight. As it is, training camp has started in the NFL for all 32 teams, ladies and gentlemen. Football is back.
Yes.
And there is a lot of stuff going on. Starting off, big news today, and this is an interesting one. Now, there's some issues here, but the Las Vegas Raiders today released defensive tackle Christian Wilkins after 1 year after signing that mega contract.
Right, mega deal.
Last year. Now, he did get hurt last year and broke, I think, something in his toe.
Yeah.
But he should have been healed up by now, and apparently he's not, because the Raiders wanted him to have surgery and he declined for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
I've saw some stuff now this afternoon after that maybe he was trying his way out of Vegas.
Excuse me, Vegas.
Vegas. I don't know if he didn't like the situation there or Drew. This is absolutely with that because another one said, he's probably not going to be able to pass a physical, because if he passed a physical, he'd have come off the PUP list and been playing there.
I'm honestly not interested, to be honest with you. I mean, we already got a stacked deck for our salary cap next year. I'm not interested in Wilkins coming in now.
Well, I mean, he's still got a shit ton of guaranteed money coming from the Raiders, so you could probably sign him cheap.
That's true. That is true.
But I'm gonna put Dave's comment back up here. He suffered the Jones fracture, breaking the 5th metatarsal bone of his left foot during week 5 of the 2024 season. So, if he needs surgery on that, he wouldn't be ready to go by the time the season started anyway. The Vikings thought they had Christian Wilkins signed last year until the last second when the Raiders dove in with that huge contract that they gave him.
Right.
So, I mean, there was interest there. Now, is there still interest? I don't know. But
I just don't foresee it. I really don't foresee it happening here.
Especially with, the guys we've already signed. Hainsworth stomped on somebody's face, Ant. He didn't do, or I don't know what that's all about, but.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know. But regardless, we'll see. We'll see what happens with him, but I don't really foresee Vikings picking him up unless somebody gets hurt or something like that.
No.
And remember what I told you the other day about reading stuff online and believing everything that you see? My lower. Yes. Anyway, moving on to the next step, we'll get into some actual Viking stuff here now. First thing happened about a week ago now, probably. Jordan Addison came up with a plea deal on his DUI charge. Instead of being charged with DUI, he was charged with a wet reckless, which sounds like Drew Bunting's Saturday nights during the 1980s and 1990s, but Filipino fan house. Good morning. But, so it remains to be seen yet what we're going to see as far as any kind of punishment from the league.
I look for a 1-game suspension, at the most. I mean, they're talking 1 to 3, but I
mean, if he was the full DUI, then it would have been automatically 3 games, I think.
Yeah, I look between 1 and 2, if anything at all. But
yeah, I mean, it's possible he doesn't get anything out
Right.
of this, but
right.
you see a lot of people online talking about it as a foregone conclusion. It's 3 games. I don't think it's going to be 3. I think it's if he gets anything, it's 1 or 2.
Yeah, and I've heard both. Possibly not getting anything, possibly getting up to 3.
Yeah.
I don't. If it's gonna happen, I don't see it being more than 1 or 2.
Yeah, I mean, and it's pure speculation at this point as to what he's going to get, but he's have contingency plans in case. He missed a couple of games last year. Jalen Naylor stepped up at that point in time, and early reports out of camp is they've been raving about Jalen Naylor. I mean, he through the I believe so as well, Drew. Yeah, he's got a 1,000-yard season in him. I fully believe that. And Hawkinson is going to eat with JJ McCarthy.
Addison's gonna have a huge year. Right now, it's looking like him and McCarthy have a good rhythm going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the play of practice yesterday was that 60-yard bomb to Addison down the sidelines. That was should have silenced any of the critics talking about JJ McCarthy's arm strength for that one, but that was a nice throw, a nice catch.
That'd be great.
3,000-yard guys, it's entirely possible. I mean, we got was it last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was.
Pretty close to having 3,000-yard guys, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkinson, Addison, and Jefferson all 3 of them almost went for 1,000 a couple years back.
Yeah, and Jefferson went over 1,000 and missed 8 games, but
right.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. As long as Hawk stopped sleeping for ball, he could. Hawkinson, when he came back last year, I don't think he was at 100%. And as we all know, we talked about this last year, and we saw it, unfortunately, the last 2 games of the season. Sam Darnold can't throw in the intermediate, and that's
he can't. That's a big thing. He didn't want to throw short. He was always looking for the deep ball.
I don't know that he doesn't want to, or is that he can't because I don't think he trusts himself throwing it in there because he's over the years he threw too many interceptions and stuff in that intermediate range.
I truly believe that Jalen Naylor and TJ Hawkinson's season last year had a lot to do with Darnold not really looking their way to throw them the ball.
Yeah.
I look for Hawkinson to have a huge rebound year. I know how much JJ loves his tight ends. So, I think Darnold had a lot to do with Hawkinson's drop off in production, along with his, not coming into play until like week 8 or 9 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Naylor was open quite often last year, but it wasn't getting the looks.
Yep. Yeah, when we did some of that breakdown where Jalen Naylor in that playoff game against the Rams was wide open, streaking across the field at least twice, and Darnold sat there and held the ball for 7 seconds. And
we've discussed that, Norris.
And that's what we're talking. Not that he wasn't great at it; he fucking sucked at it. Pretty much.
And then towards the end of the year, he was horrible in the red zone. How many red zone have there that last 2 games, and Darnold could not put it in?
Well, but that's the thing. When you get into the red zone is an intermediate zone, and in that 10 to 15-yard range for most of the stuff, and that's where Darnold struggled. But
by all accounts, McCarthy is money in the red zone, especially last year during training.
No. He is a C-level quarterback at best. Just listen to Colin Cowherd this week.
Yeah,
that dumb son of a...
It's going to be funny to see him walk back that take during the season.
Yeah, if you listen to Thor Nystrom, who, fairness in advertising, Thor Nystrom is the president of the J.J. McCarthy fan club. But, he was talking about it earlier this week, that Cowherd grabbed that narrative from McCarthy early on and, never let it go while everybody else changed their tune because they realized that it wasn't a good narrative. But Kyle pissed because Vikings got rid of his boy Sam Darnold.
Right. Yes.
And that's what it boils down to. And he's talking about, oh, look at JJ McCarthy's stats when behind in the fourth quarter. They're terrible. When the fuck was JJ McCarthy behind in the fourth quarter?
I think there's the one game against TCU, which is a bad game.
That was the only game, basically the only game. Most of the time, he wasn't even playing in the fourth quarter
I went back and looked at McCarthy's stats in the fourth quarter, and he had touchdowns to one interception in all of his fourth quarter plays in his last college year.
Yeah, well,
so I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that crap.
No, and then you look at when it was third and long or fourth, and obvious passing zones. McCarthy was absolute ice cold, blood in his veins, dead on, lethal.
Statistically, he was the best quarterback in college when it came to third downs.
Right. That's the thing, that the he's pushing is complete and total bullshit, and a 10-second Google search will tell you that.
Yeah.
But regardless. Anyway, we'll move on here. Surprisingly, only 2 players start off training camp on the PUP list. Both rookies, linebacker Chaz Chambliss and tight end Gavin Bartholomew, both on the PUP list.
Yep.
The big names, though, that everybody thought would be on there, surprisingly, are not. Christian Darrisaw, Will Fries, and who's the third? Hold on, who's the third one here? I lost my place. Rondale Moore was the third one that they thought could be on the PUP list, but all 3 are active, are practicing.
Yep.
So which bodes well for hopefully having both of Fries and Darrisaw for week 1. That would be huge.
It's possible. I absolutely look for Fries to be available week 1. Darrisaw is to me, in my opinion, questionable for that week 1. But I do believe it could be possible that he does pop in there week 1.
Yep. So, we'll see how things look during practice. They're going to take it easy. They're not going to be stupid with him. George, we talked about that at length at the beginning of the show. Keep sharpening his spear. Yeah. Otherwise, Vikings brought back an old friend, Jihad Ward, for a visit on Tuesday.
I think he signed
and
with
then
the Titans.
Turned around and signed with the Tennessee Titans the next day. So I don't know if it was just a courtesy bringing him back in or just looking for another camp body. But beyond that,
I've heard good things about. They got Okuda starting at quarterback 3.
He's at that. Yeah, that was one of my line items here I was going to get to in a minute. But yeah, Jeff Okuda is running with the ones right now as that
third corner,
second outside cornerback.
Yep.
We are going to bring that up in just a little bit, Drew. I got a couple other things I want to finish first, and then we'll get into the camp battles and that kind of stuff. But otherwise, jersey news out today. The Vikings released their jersey schedule. They're going to wear the throwback classics that everybody wants to make back into the full-timers. They're going to wear them week 2 against the Falcons on Monday Night Football. That's the night that they're celebrating Jared Allen getting into the Hall of Fame, so they're going to wear throwbacks for that one. And then for the final game of the year against the Packers, they're also going to wear them. And then check out the Winter Warrior jerseys again. Christmas Day at home against the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, week 17, yeah.
Yep. Only other thing, couple more things here. Josh Metellus did report to camp, is in. He's practicing. There was talk about him doing his hold-in kind of thing because he's, searching for a new contract.
I love the quote that he had yesterday after practice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically he's letting his agent and stuff take care of that, and he's just there to play football. So, which is good to hear. He's betting on himself, and we'll see how that goes. But haven't decided yet, Norsefius. I will have to see how things go here. But one of these years I'm going to get down there for that. I haven't decided yet about this year. But then the other thing for just out of the first practice today, Van Ginkel and Ivan Pace both had pick sixes as the defense started off. Van Ginkel picked off Brett Rippon, and Ivan Pace picked off Sam Howell.
And then today, I think Harrison Smith had an interception himself as well off of a tip pass off of Lucky Jackson for McCarthy.
Okay. I would start looking tonight. I got busy when I got home. I didn't get a chance to get the real up from today's practice, but
yeah, McCarthy threw a pick, but it was a Jackson should have had it, but it was tipped off his hands, and Harrison Smith picked it off today. So
yeah, I mean, you get picked up. There's no shame in getting picked off by Harrison Smith, even if it's not a tip ball. But
right.
But anyway, with that, let's roll into some of the key camp battles that we're looking forward to this preseason, and key spot. A lot of things aren't decided, so it's going to take a few weeks here and some guys putting in the work to potentially make the 53s. So starting off, let's go with the wide receivers first. Of course, we're pretty much set at 1, 2, and 3. Jefferson Addison and Jalen Nailor. I know there was some discussion about Jalen Nailor pushed, but the way everybody's been talking and stuff, I think Nailor is pretty well cemented as that wide receiver 3. We got a ton of other guys sitting there, though. We got rookie Ty Felton, who has been returning kicks and punts the first couple of days.
Yeah, he'll be making the 53-man roster for sure.
Yeah, he absolutely will. Rondale Moore, another guy. We talked about him briefly earlier.
Yeah, and anybody beyond Ty Felton is where it becomes intriguing along this group, I believe.
Yeah, I think Rondale Moore runs a good chance of making the roster.
He's another one of those guys that has that high ceiling that we just haven't seen yet in this league. I mean, there's a abundance of talent there with Rondale Moore. It's just putting it together at the next level, I believe, and being able to stay healthy.
Drew, we do not have Super Sticker because YouTube refuses to monetize us for whatever fucking reason, but Facebook monetizes us. So if you're going to choose between one or the other, watch us on Facebook because that helps monetize us. So. But yeah, the other wide receivers, the aforementioned Lucky Jackson that you talked about earlier. Silas Bolden is a guy to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that's my guy I'm looking at too. I look at there being 6 receivers at the end of the day with Jefferson, Addison, Nailor, Felton, Moore, and Silas Bolden. I think was going to be that way rounded out.
Yeah, there's a few other ones there too. Dante Fleming, Cheshwan Jones, Tim Jones, Robert Lewis, Miles Price, and Thayer Thomas. Thayer Thomas has been around for quite a while. He bounces back and forth on the practice squad and stuff, but might be interesting for that 6 wide receiver. If they keep 6, which I think they probably do, it'll be an interesting.
With Silas Bolden, I really think it comes down to his return skills. Whether or not he makes the roster. But yeah, I look for us to keep 6 receivers.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, with Bolden and Felton, the two of them, there could be a little bit of a fight there. Ty Felton obviously has the the edge because he was a 4th round pick?
Yeah.
Was he 3rd?
He's either 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
But I know Rondale Moore has return experience too, so
he does. Yep. And that's where a lot of these guys are going to make the roster. These wide receiver 5 and 6 kind of things is special teams ability. So you got 3 guys right there that can do that. Next, and this is the one Drew brought up it earlier, so we'll hit that one next here. The cornerback position. This is probably one of the most heated competitions on the team.
I think it is. I think it's the most heated on the team.
I think so too. Of course, Byron Murphy Jr. just got the big contract. He's tied in at your main corner, although he plays slot more than anything.
Yeah, he's corner 1, but I look for him to be utilized as that slot corner because that's where he plays his best ball.
Right. I mean, he can kick outside.
He can do it on the outside, but he plays at a higher level inside.
Yep. And then the cornerback 2 right now is Isaiah Rogers. During free agency,
the entire organization loves this guy.
Yep, and Flores was absolutely beating the table with a sledgehammer for this kid. So, I mean, I think he's in there, and now, maybe a little surprisingly, Jeff Okudah. Now, granted, he's a veteran, so maybe that has something to do with it. It has been running as the other starting cornerback, at least through the first 2 days.
If anybody's going to turn around Jeff Okudah's career, it's going to be Brian Flores.
Yeah.
I mean, these reclamation projects have done very well for us in the last few years. So,
well, and that's the thing with Okudah. He had all the talent in the world. I mean, what was he?
Number three pick.
Yeah, number 3 overall pick. He just had injuries and stuff over the years that had kind of derailed his career. But if he can bring it back, when he's able to play, he's been a good cornerback for most of the time. But
from an organizational standpoint, them not picking up anybody outside of Okudah and Rodgers in free agency are, drafting a corner says a lot about this room. They have a lot of belief in these younger guys.
Well, and especially with there still being, good cornerbacks out there. Was it Jack Jones? He's still out there.
Yep.
Asante Samuel Jr. is still out there. No, he's got injury concerns, but yeah, I mean, I think the fan base has, kind of to your point here, the fan base is wringing their hands a lot more over the cornerback room than the Vikings themselves are.
Yeah. Yep.
But beyond, the 3 we've talked about, Kai Blackman back off of injury.
And he's running with the 2s. I mean, he's going to have to earn that. He's going to have to beat out Okudah for that number 3 cornerback spot.
And if he can, great. If he can't, then it's going to take him a little bit of time to get back from that injury that he had last year. What was it, first or second practice last year where he tore his ACL and was out for the year?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I really like the 90 guys they have out here competing this year at training camp.
Yep. Then the other guy I think on the roster right now that they really like and should make the team is Dwight McGlothern.
Oh yeah, he's penciled in. I mean, I could see us, carrying 5 to 6 corners as well. I would like to see Zemiah Vaughn make the roster as well.
Yeah, and he's a guy, we'll talk about him a little bit later on, but yeah, he's a guy they really like. Listening to Judd Zolgad, that's his pick for Mr. Mankato this year is Zemiah Vaughn. And we'll talk about the Mr. Mankato stuff here in a little bit, but he stands a good chance of making it in there too. So,
and if he's not out playing corner, he's going to make a hell of a special teamer. So.
Yeah, and I think that's where he's going to make the team as a special teamer to start with, and then work his way, kind of like what McGlothern did last year.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next group here. Tight end, of course, T.J. Hawkinson and Josh Oliver.
Well, we should address that little bit of murmurs going on about T.J. Hawkinson.
About what? You froze up there, Lance. Okay, repeat. You froze up.
I would.
And now we lost.
Okay, I'm back. Right. Okay,
and we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay.
Right. And to me, being available is really intriguing at the right price.
Yeah, I mean,
he would be the best. He would literally be the best tight end 3 in the league if we got Noah Fant in here at the right price.
Yeah, and if he's sitting out there right now, I mean, the right price is probably fairly reasonable.
Yeah.
How many catches for Hawk this year? That's a great question, Drew. What do you think, Lance?
I'm going to go 60.
60?
70.
70, okay. Yeah, I think he's going to I think it's probably closer to, like Norris Vias and Ann said there, I think 80 to 85 catches.
See, I don't know. I honestly believe O'Connell's going to instill more of a run game in this system this year. And I don't know how many balls are going to be out there to go around. I think the run game is going to be years here compared to the last 3 years. But we shall see, you know.
Well, I think that O'Connell kind of learned a lesson.
Play action is going to be huge this year.
Those last two, but he learned his lesson those last 2 games of the season last year. I mean, that's why they went out and completely overhauled the offensive and defensive lines. That's why they went out and got Jordan Mason. You know, I think they're going to be more balanced this year. I mean, Kevin O'Connell's still a passing, coach at heart, I think, but getting in there and being able to be more balanced and to be able to run the ball when you want to, I think it's going to be, it's maybe not so much more about the quantity, but the scenario and the situational type running. You know, when you're at 3rd and short and 4th and short, we don't need everybody out 5 wide and throwing a damn ball. You give it to Jordan Mason and let him blow through the hole and get your 2 yards that you need to do or whatever.
And yeah, Drew, I'm not saying put Fant at number 2. I mean, I would put Fant at number 3. And yeah, Oliver is a hell of a tight end too, who still doesn't get enough credit for his receiving skills, I believe.
Yeah. And I kind of tend to lean more towards like Drew on this I think they like the 3 young guys they brought in. Bryson
including
Nesbitt.
The UDFA is the Urasek that came in, looks pretty good too.
Yep. Gavin Bartholomew, of course, the kid they drafted. They got Ben Urasek and Bryson Nesbitt, the 2 guys that they brought in as UDFAs. And then they also brought in Giovanni Ricci,
right?
Who's got, I think he's more of a camp body than anything else. But I like Urasek. I think he's got a
yeah, and I agree with that too, Drew. I mentioned that earlier in the episode with JJ loving his tight ends.
Mm-hmm. So I think Urasek stands a fair chance of maybe sneaking onto the roster. I mean, I don't think we're going to carry 4 tight ends, but he might end up being
on the practice squad for sure if needed.
Yeah, but he could potentially beat out Gavin Bartholomew. I think the 2 guys that they got in as UDFAs are better than the guy they drafted.
I think they're all about the same level. It's going to be interesting to see what happens at that tight end 3 spot, regardless.
Yeah. And that's why I brought it up. It's a position to watch because that TE3 spot is going to be an interesting battle, I think. But
yes.
Then the next position I got is running back. Of course, we're set at 1 and 2 with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason, but after that,
comes down to Ty Chandler. Trey Stewart can beat out Ty Chandler. It's Trey Stewart's job, but I look at Chandler sticking around. He's a bubble guy, but I look for Chandler to stick around for another year.
Yeah, I like Trey Stewart. I'm still kind of surprised they didn't draft her. I mean, granted, we were pretty short on draft picks, but
yeah,
Ty Chandler has not really endeared himself to this staff. His pass blocking's not very good, and he's
up and down.
Yeah, he's really up and down. So it would not surprise me one bit to see Ty Chandler not on this roster when week 1 rolls around. I still think there's a very strong possibility they might be watching the waiver wires, when final cutdown comes. If there's a running back that they like that's out there, they bring that guy in and he becomes running back.
Unless they like what they see in Trey Stewart, as the UDFA.
Yeah. I mean, I think Chandler will get his yards and stuff in the preseason games. He seems like he always, the guy's a good runner, but it's just the other areas that this team expects running backs to be able to do that he struggles with, and that's why he's not seeing the field.
Struggles horribly in pass protection. Yes.
Yep. Tell what to T-Bass. I must have missed that one. Huh. We're talking and wait for preseason cuts. Yeah, I think there's a definite possibility that some guys that get cut on that final weekend end up as Vikings after that. But yeah, I honestly think that's what's going to happen, Drew, unless they really like Trey Stewart and if he shows out during training camp. I like Ty Chandler as a runner, but if he can't do the stuff they need him to do, then he's not
Given
keeping
ample
around the team. I
opportunity
mean,
to show what he has, and he hasn't yet. So
yeah. I mean, they kept Kane Nwangwu around for a couple of years because of his kick return ability, but he couldn't do anything as a running back. So they eventually,
right.
especially
Ty Chandler isn't that great of a kick returner either. So I mean,
no, but I think that, where you've got Ty Felton and Rondell Moore and Silas Bolden, all three of those guys can kick return too. So I mean that takes it away. And when you have a bad roster, you can stack people in here, that are only good at something like that as a returner and stuff. But this is a very good and very stacked roster. So you cannot waste a valuable position on some guy that's just going to be a kick returner or something like that. They have to be multifaceted, have to be able to contribute multiple ways.
at
Or
least
you're
be able
not
to
going to
play
make this
special
team.
teams. So
Yeah, Dave, I'm trying to follow him scrolling on the bar on the side here and down below. But I've only got one computer screen down here, so I need to get a better setup, but it works for now. But yeah, so tight end is going to be another one. I got quarterback on the list here as the next one. Of course, J.J. McCarthy, C-level quarterback. He's probably going to get cut about week 3. But
right.
No,
number 3 quarterback coming in here. It's going to be looking interesting to see the competition for that third spot between Brosmer and Rippon.
Yeah, I mean, everything that you see out there when Kevin O'Connell talks about Max Brosmer, I think he stands a very good chance of actually winning that QB3.
Yeah, I agree.
I know that's good, warm and fuzzy because he's got a serious man stiffy for Max Brosmer, but
Max for quarterback, he wants in that quarterback too.
We're not putting a rookie as a quarterback 2 behind a first-year starter,
especially a UDFA.
No, but I think I know that there's of course, rumors floating around about him bringing in somebody else for quarterback 2. Sam Howell, I think in this offense is going to be fine.
I agree. Under the O'Connell, I'm not worried about Sam Howell not being able to be a decent
Howell really
guy.
played. Howell played pretty well actually that year he started for Washington.
Well, yeah, he got thrown into the fire as a rookie.
Yeah, on a bad team without weapons. He threw for a ton of yards.
For a shit ton of yards. Yeah,
I think he went over 4,000, didn't he?
And it's just his decision making is what it is when it comes down to it.
Yeah, and that's
he threw a shit ton of interceptions that year too. But I mean,
but there again, not a good team around him. But
right.
he's a younger, better version of Nick Mullins.
There you go. Yeah, I like Howell at number 2. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, for this year, anyway,
O'Connell. Yeah, for this year, yes.
After that, we'll see next year. But and I know they like Brett Rippon too. I think there's going to be a pretty significant competition between Rippon and Brosmer, and I think honestly, one of them probably makes the 53, and the other one goes on the practice squad potentially, to run scout team and stuff. Matt Brosmer's Nate Stanley. Yeah. Northvius is a fan. McCarthy's going to play every snap this year. The thing of it is, Ant, is O'Connell learned his lesson from 2 years ago when Cousins went down and we didn't have anything behind him really, and they were duct taping and baling wire together, with the Pasternaut, Nick Mullins, and Jaron Hall, and back to Nick Mullins.
Quarterback stability has not been a good thing under O'Connell since he's been here. So, I mean, it'll be interesting.
It was stable last year. I mean, he played the whole year until he shit all over himself the last 2 games of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of funny and it's refreshing for Vikings fans to be intrigued about who the backup quarterbacks are going to be, and no question whatsoever about who the starter is going to be. So I'm excited about that, interested to see what happens. But position I've got is safety. Of course, Harrison
I
Smith back.
love that Theo Jackson is getting a shot here to start this year. I love Theo Jackson since we brought him in. I am high on him. I look for great things out of Theo Jackson this season. We're going to forget about who Cam Bynum. I mean, I love Cam Bynum when he was here, but I think Theo Jackson's got a little bit higher of a ceiling. So,
I mean, he has played well when he's had the opportunity. It's just been,
and he can bring the wood. He can bring the wood.
He can. I'm going to be curious to see how that plays out. Safety is kind of a thin spot on this roster right now. But I mean, you got Josh Metellus, obviously the Swiss Army knife, who they're not going to play in a traditional safety spot very often. I mean,
Metellus is the Swiss Army knife of this defense.
Yeah, absolutely is. And somebody asked Flores about letting him up in the conventional safety positions, and
that's why it's taking so long for this contract to get done. Is just they can't decide what his pay scale should be at what position he plays because he's all over the place.
Yeah, but when they asked Flores about lining Metellus up as a traditional safety, he goes, "I don't know. I'm not really a traditional kind of guy." So
yeah.
But behind those three,
I'm not a big Jay Ward guy. I don't much.
No,
I don't
I'm not
want to
either.
see Ward on the field for any significant period of time other than special teams.
Yep, and he seems to fuck up on special teams more often than not. I mean, usually when his name gets called on the special teams, he's done a penalty of some sort.
It's usually a penalty, yeah.
Pay Metellus, those players are. I agree, Drew, and I think that they do get a contract done with him at some point in time, probably before the season starts.
And just he is a true leader on this team, a true cat. He was a cat when he was a special teamer, and that was saying a lot. I like what he brings to the locker room, and I like what he brings as far as play goes on the field and how versatile he is and a moving piece that he is for this defense.
And he's that system guy. I mean, does Metellus have the same level of success in a more traditional style defense that he does in the Flores defense? I don't know if he does.
Right.
He could, but I think he just his view being able to. I mean, he played everything but nose tackle, I think, last year.
Yeah. Yep. And that's the thing. He's not. They don't line him up at traditional safety, like you said. He's like a rover out there on defense. He's all over.
He's that utility infielder. He's the the guy that just goes and does all that other stuff. But yeah, Jay Ward.
Yes, I think I'm not a big Jay Ward fan.
No, there's a possibility that safety is one of those positions where somebody gets picked up before the season starts for depth at the very least.
Right.
Or if say Blackman or McGlothern or somebody start showing out at cornerback, do they maybe look at putting Jeff Okuda in at safety?
Yeah.
Metellus is lining up next to Hitman Jay. Another person, one that they're talking about using a lot, moving him around a lot this year is Dallas Turner.
Yeah, and where are they gonna? I've heard of. Where do you going to put him? Are you gonna move? Are you gonna move Gink back to linebacker spot and put Turner in there? It's a good problem to have, but you want to see Turner on the field more often. Of course, you want to see him out there because of his playmaking ability, and I believe abilities that you have guys like Grenard and Van Ginkel in front of you. It's hard to take snaps from those guys.
Well,
and a lot of fans don't understand that. That's why he's not getting those gaudy sacks that you'd like to see out of turnovers because he's got two all pros in front of him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, today even they one play they said they ran. You had Grenard and Van Ginkel in the normal spots, and they put Dallas Turner in as the off-ball inside linebacker.
Right.
And then just right before the snap, he came up to the line of scrimmage and rushed the passer out of the from the inside. So Flores is going to find a way to get him involved and get him in there.
Well, he's got to. He's got to find a way to get.
Yeah, I know. There was a comment made today that O'Connell is a little frustrated sometimes with Flores because exotic shit he keeps throwing out there, and it's hard for him to come against. But honestly, that's the best thing that somebody like, a young kid like JJ McCarthy can do, is go up against a defense that throws everything at you. Because then nothing is unexpected when you see it in an actual game situation during the regular season.
Right. I hate that. I hate that you say this, Drew, because I feel like he has all the tools, just not getting the snaps because they're just not available.
Well, and
with Patrick Jones going and moving along, that's going to give him some more of those snaps.
Dallas Turner is your third edge rusher this year now with Pat Jones gone, and he's going to get his sacks. And I think he probably has 7-8 sacks this year, easy.
Easily.
And that's about what Jones had last year, wasn't it? It was like 8.
Yep.
And you think of DJ Wan, kind of the same thing. That third guy ended up having those kind of numbers. So iron sharpens iron, absolutely, Josh. And that's, I think that to some extent is why, you've got the Kevin O'Connell School of Quarterback Rehabilitation, because you've got that defense that these guys have to go against and in practice every day, and they see all this oddball stuff.
I truly believe Metellus' contract is right around the corner. I look before the end of the preseason, something will be done.
I think so too. I mean, like I said, they're talking.
I look between 11 and 12 and 13 million a year for the guy. Between 10 and 13 million for Metellus a year.
I think he could push up, towards that 15, like what Bynum got. I think.
I don't know.
It could be that high.
It could be, but I don't know.
I look to Drew's point a little bit ago. I think Metellus is more valuable than Bynum was, and Bynum was a good player. But I think Metellus is worth that. Now, next year our salary cap situation kind of sucks.
We're sitting at negative $60 million in salary cap space next year, so we're going to have a lot to do with the books as far as that goes.
Right, but you can backload a contract a little bit. Because after that,
restructure and get those numbers down, and
after 2026, I think we're back to having one of the better contract deals again too. So could possibly have three 10+ sack guys this year.
Well, we got close last year.
Yeah.
So I mean, easily this defense is going to be a top 5 defense. Mark that down this season.
Mm-hmm. Another very good question by Drew here. Will KOC finally get that killer instinct after getting against by his old twice last year?
Well, I think with the switch up in the offenses and defensive lines, I think is going to go a long ways as far as KOC putting on his big boy pants. When you got an interior offensive line that is like a wet paper bag, it's hard to get enough time to get rid of those balls quick enough. And like we seen last year, you got Darnold back there holding the ball for 12 seconds. That doesn't help either. The personnel has gone a long way as far as KOC and his play calling goes.
Yeah. Well, and I think, to your point there, we couldn't run the ball effectively last year. So when you get in those late game situations where you're up by, one score or whatever it is, we were still having to throw the ball because we couldn't grind the clock out.
We have not had a capable running for the last season since we got Dalvin Cooks trailing off. The first year KOC was here, we had somewhat of a decent running game. I look for that to be night and day this year. I look for us to get big chunks on the run. And that all goes back to that personnel on the interior of the offensive line, which I believe has really been a detriment to KOC's play calling, was because of the personnel that was in there on the offensive line.
Yeah. Well, and then you look at the running back room. I mean, Aaron Jones, had a good year last year. Jordan Mason averaged 5.7 yards per carry last year.
Yeah.
When McCaffrey was out and he was the lead back, I mean, that guy was good. And I think, he's got that more power and stuff for that short yardage stuff that we've been lacking. I think, he's going to fit that mold very well.
I think Jordan Mason is going to surprise a lot of people this year, and I think he's going to be one of the better running backs in the league. I look for it to be more. Start here, it's going to be 50-50 between Jones and Mason, but I look for Mason to take over that running back one spot soon enough.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Mason be.
And he reminds me a lot of Marshawn. And you know what? Marshawn wasn't the greatest in Buffalo, but once he went out to Seattle, he became beast mode. And I believe Mason has all the traits. Not that he is Marshawn Lynch, but he has the ability to be as good, I think.
Yeah,
as for Seattle.
I'm excited to see what he can do with this offense.
I agree, Drew. Mason will end the season with more rushing yards than Jones. And it all comes back to health. You know, Jones and Mason have both had injury issues throughout their careers. Can they both stay healthy for an entire season?
Oh, and I think, if you do the more running back by committee approach, you take care,
that helps
some of the load off of both of them. It's going to help them both.
Yes.
Free agents.
I agree. I think Mason can have that same type of significant push in the run game like Barkley did last year with Philadelphia. I'm not saying that he's going to have a Barkley-esque year, but he can change the running game for this team for the better.
Yeah, no, he wasn't a free agent. We traded for him, but still, we picked him up at the beginning of the season. I think that
we picked him up for peanuts. Peanuts, yeah. Rhino.
Was it a 6th or a 7th round pick?
6th round pick in a trade swap or
yeah. So it was that hot potato pick, I think, that we keep trading for Cam Akers. So now we can't trade for Cam Akers this year because we got rid of that draft pick. But anyway.
I agree, Ant. Mason and Jones will be a top 5 running back duo in this league.
Well, you mean you look at what Detroit did up there with Montgomery and what's his ass? His name is escaping. No, I shouldn't. It's been a long week, but you got to have 2 good running backs in this league now. I don't think unless you've got a guy like a Saquon Barkley. Yeah, DeAndre Swift. Thanks. No, not DeAndre Swift. And Lance is out.
Gibbs.
Yeah, Gibbs. Yeah.
Gibbs stopper. Giblets.
Yep. Whatever you want to call him. Swift is in Chicago.
Yeah.
But anyway, you got any more battles you're looking at, or does that pretty much cover it?
I like, the backups for the offensive line is going to be interesting to me. I believe.
You got Skrull, you got Walter Rouse, who I think they're trying to move into guard. You got
Skrull, I think is locked to make the team. He's a good swing tackle. One of the better swing tackles in the league.
He's the 3rd tackle, I think.
But beyond that, it's going to be interesting to see if Rouse sticks around. Got those guys that we brought in at center to fight it out with Juergens for that second center spot, and it'll be interesting. Does Brandel stick around? I think Brandel sticks around as a good backup guard. But... So that'll be interesting to see as well, I think.
Yep. All right, so with that, let's move on to our picks for this year's Mr. Mankato. I know they're not in Mankato anymore, but Mr. Egan sounds kind of stupid, so we're going to stick with calling it Mr. Mankato.
I'm going to have to address this. Yes, I think he does. I do. Yep. I believe so. He's a tackling machine in college. Rave reviews out of minicamp about Kobe King, so I think he has a legitimate shot to make the team, especially as a special teamer to start out. So,
and he takes Osmo's spot. I think that's pretty much a foregone.
I think so too. I think he's as good as gone. Yep. So, anyways,
yeah. So I've got a few guys, and you feel free to throw in who you think on here. Kobe King is one of my actual picks for Mr. Mankato. I think that just what we were just talking about. Kid is a hell of a player, and I think he's going to shine up. I mean, I think we got a steal in this guy.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's a starter down the road. Not this year, maybe not next year, but the year after. I think he has the ability to start there at inside linebacker.
And at the very least, he's going to make a very good 3rd linebacker to rotate.
Or he could be like a Heath Farwell and make a hell of a special teamer.
Yeah.
So
I think he's more than a special teamer, though. I really do.
I think so too.
My next candidate is Batty, the edge rusher.
Who's that?
They seem to Tyler Batty.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
They really like him, and I think he could be like this year's Gabe Murphy or Bo Richter kind of guy.
That's just it. That's just it. You got to beat out Bo Richter and Gabe Murphy for that last, edge rusher spot.
Honestly, I think both of those guys make the team, so it's going to be hard for any of these edge
guys. Exactly. Yes.
So I think Batty at least sticks around on the practice squad, but he could surprise us and sneak his way into the roster over a Richter or somebody like that too.
Yep.
Then I got two more. Ben Urasek, the tight end. I think he stands a very good shot of making the roster as the third tight end. Bryson Nesbitt as well, for that matter. Like I said earlier, I think both of these guys could be.
It's going to be a very interesting tight end 3 battle. Unless we decide to carry 4, but one of those guys is going to end up in the practice squad.
Yep.
Regardless. So.
Yep. And then for my last option, both Dave and Ant bring it up here. Zemiah Vaughn.
He had a great mini camp in OTAs.
Yep. So my my choice, I think, comes down between Kobe King and Zemiah Vaughn. Both stands a very good chance. I think Kobe King definitely makes the roster as the fourth linebacker. Eric Wilson's still there. He may beat out Eric Wilson.
So
I don't know.
I think so too. I see King making the roster too.
Yep. But he was, I think Vaughn is going to be my pick. I think that kid's going to buy some people. Bolden could be, in that same boat.
Yep. I agree.
I'll go
possibly even.
Yep. I'll go with Vaughn. So who do you think, or who do you got for guys to watch?
See, I would say, for guys to watch, Theo Jackson is the guy to watch. I talked about earlier in the episode. I know
he's been around too long to be too long.
Yes. Levi Drake Rodriguez is Mankato this year. I think he knows what he's playing for. And the dude plays at 110%. We haven't mentioned him at all this episode. And I think he's been forgotten.
Well, and right now he and Jalen Redmond are the twos on the defensive line. So
and he had a great day today. He was in the backfield numerous times today during training camp. I could see Drake Rodriguez snatching that Mr. Man. I know a lot of people like to see the rookies after that, but for me it's between Drake Rodriguez and Zemiah Vaughn for Mr. Mankato.
Okay.
So, and I love the depth that we have along the defensive line now. And you got a Jalen Redmond that can come in to spell, and you got hopefully like a Levi Drake Rodriguez or a Taki Tiamani, that can come in and
Tiamani's another guy. He's built like a true nose tackle, and that's something we don't have. I mean, I like Harrison Phillips. He's a good player, but he's not a true nose tackle.
Right. Gabriel Murphy, yes, is another name. A lot of these names from last year that didn't get to see the field, when they get to their chance to really come out and shine, I think they're going to.
Yep.
Yeah. Because he plays at 110% all the time. Yes, Dave, that's what I was getting at. He was over today.
And that was the thing that
coaches would tell him to settle down. I love that. That.
I would much rather have players that you got to tell to chill out a little bit than to have to go kick him in the ass to get him going.
LDR, he knows where he's at right now. He's gonna play. This is his training camp. He's going to play with like his hair is on fire, literally, to make this 53-man roster.
Well, and it's you start looking. I mean, the guys we got for starters, they're all really good players, getting up there in age. They're in that 30, right around 30 or so. So in a couple of years, LDR runs a good Jalen Redmond, another one that, could potentially be starters on this team in a couple of years.
Redmond, I think, is is borderline starter material with the way that he ended last season and just seeing him get through those gaps and being the first guy in the backfield. I love me some Jalen Redmond.
Yeah, I mean, he won the start last year. I mean, beating out guys that were highly drafted, not by us, but they were highly drafted,
Right. But yeah, Levi Drake Rodriguez and Zamiah Vaughn for me for Mr. Mankato this year. One of those guys.
Okay. Drew doesn't give a shit about our Mr. Mankato picks, but give us our most important players on offense and defense for this year. I'll let you go first, Lance.
I'm going to go with, obviously, J.J. McCarthy at quarterback on offense. Comes back down to him and how he leads this team. I have complete confidence that he's going to come out and just light the fucking league on fire. I think he's ready to go. I think he handles adversity very well. He has a lot to prove, and I believe he's going to prove it. So, TJ Hawkinson proving that he's one of the best tight ends in the league again this year. That's going to go a long ways as well. And then running game is back to where it needs to be to get that running game back into at least the top 15, top 12. Running games in the league would be huge. So that comes down to, Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones making that happen along with the new revamped interior offensive line. It's going to be great. I look for this team to be able to really play absolutely great complementary football this season where the defense and offense and special teams are all kind of playing off of each other. And Rhino and I have said this year in and year out since KOC's been here with the talent on this team. I mean, I expect us to score every time we touch the ball on offense. I mean, there's no reason that we can't with the plethora of talent that we have on offense. Going over the defense, the leadership over there with Harrison Smith on the back end, and then up front with guys like Jonathan Allen and Javon Harrison Phillips, who have been in this league for some time now, is going to be huge on that defense, having that veteran leadership. It all comes down to, on defense, though, is that secondary in the cornerback room. How is that going to shake out, and how is it going to look come week one? So I have confidence in Flores, and I look for this defense to be even better than last year's defense. And right now, with how training camp has looked the last 2 days, and granted it's without pads, but this defense looks like one of the better defenses in the league, like top 3. It's going to be really interesting to see how far this team goes. I think our Super Bowl window is open now, and we have a shot to make it happen. So let's do it.
Yeah. So for me,
great comment by Drew here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that every time this offense touches the ball, that we should be putting it in the end, at least getting the 3 out of it, depending on circumstances. Situational football is huge with KOC. Situational football is huge with JJ McCarthy. And if they can really fucking tie the bow on that, it's going to be a great season. So,
yeah. So from my side of things, I mean, JJ McCarthy is the easy answer, but JJ McCarthy doesn't have to be elite, I don't think, this year. I expect him to get there, whether it's this year, next year, whatever. But as long as McCarthy is solid to good, the rest of the talent on this offense is going to make this team very, very hard to stop.
If he can grow and get better as the season goes on and then see more of that, I mean, the future is bright for the quarterback position, I believe. So,
but back to my comments I made earlier, I think Jordan Mason is going to be the X factor on the offense because he has that short yardage ability to go out there, like we talked about on 3rd and short, 4th and short. You don't have to go line up your fucking wide receivers and go 5 wide empty backfield because you have an offensive line now and you have a running back who can punch it through that hole and get those 1 to 2 yards that you're going to need to be keeping the ball moving, keep the clock moving, grind this thing out.
Fucking Norse. Another hiatus.
No, we're not going on any hiatuses until after the season again. But But yeah, so I think Mason on the offensive side, on the defensive side of things, I think it's Blake Cashman. You know, last year it was the couple games that cashed out. Granted, it was against the Lions and the Rams the first time around, but not only was Cashman getting everybody where they needed to be, I mean, he was making plays on a constant basis. And I think, there again, it's easy to say Van Ginkel and Grenard. I mean, those guys are a big part. Hargrave and Allen up front.
Moving on from Garrett Bradbury, Rhino, and having Ryan Kelly here for JJ.
Yeah, absolutely. Having not only a guy that's been here, done it all, seen it all, but a guy that can actually put the product out on the field as long as he stays healthy.
Right.
Bradbury was a very smart guy. He just
didn't have the tools.
Right.
No anchor. Biggest concern with Bradbury, yes.
Garrett Bradbury was the Sean Mannion of offensive line. Very smart, but a piss poor player.
I thought it was pretty hilarious when I found out Sean Mannion was the quarterback's coach for Green Bay.
He was last year too, but
yep. And that look how
that's
did last year.
That's basically what he was here too. I mean,
yeah.
Bradbury looks like a Monchichi. Yeah, and Ryan Kelly looks like he wants to kick the shit out of everybody who walks in front of him. So
Ryan Kelly was all business all the time.
Yep.
And
he's got that nasty to him. And how many times I've been harping on that we've been doing this show for over 5 years now.
Yep.
I've been harping on that ever since we started this show that we needed some big nasty up on that line.
Yes. Physicality.
And we've got that now. Donovan Jackson coming in. I mean, he's got a nasty streak to him. Will Fries has got a nasty streak. And like we just talked about, Ryan Kelly, he's got that Stevenson kind of thing to him where he just wants to punch the guy across from him in the face just for looking at him kind of thing.
Yep. And we got that on both sides of the lines now too. So Hargraves and
Allen. Yeah. So I'm excited for what's to come here. I can't wait till we start getting the pads on here. I think pads go on Monday.
Yep. And it'll be a Tuesday episode next week there, Rhino, so we can go over the first day of pad
of practice and everything. Yep. Bradbury to Ryan Kelly is a Steve Urkel to Hulk Hogan. Yeah. You're not wrong, Drew. Stuck in the undersized trenches for too long. Glad that's changed this year. Absolutely.
Yes. Some physicality finally over just finesse.
Yeah. So, well, and the finesse didn't do a damn thing. So
no, we should have stuck with the power running game even after Peterson was gone. We decided to switch over to more of a zone running game.
And this team was never built to properly run that. Because I mean, you can maybe move out, get out in space and do it, but we have been completely incapable of running, in the A and B gap for 3 years.
Right.
So, but anyway, we've gone on for about an hour, 15 minutes here. So I got to be up at 5:30. So probably a good idea to wrap her up here. But
wrap her up.
All right. You got anything else you want to hit before we call her a night there, Lance?
I think we got her all down that we needed to get. So,
all right. Well, I want to give a big thank you again to everybody for joining us on the return show. We're back. We'll be here all the way through the preseason, all the way through the regular season. Yes, Drew, make sure you go check out Dave and Darren on Two Old Bloggers on Sundays. Another great show. All of Dave's shows over on First and Skol are good shows. Give them a watch. Ton of Vikings content out there. So, make sure you visit the other guys' shows too and help them out and following us. Bums leaving us again. Yeah, Norris. We'll be back next week. Just
Tuesday, guys.
Cool your jet.
Same time.
Yep. So 9:00 Tuesday night next week, we'll review the first padded practice and anything else that comes up between now and then. But again, thank you guys so very much for joining. Great discussion in the chat. Always, you guys always bring it. You guys make this show what it is. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here to do it. So thank you again from the bottom of our hearts. And with that, why don't you take us out of here, Lance?
I think you said it best. once again, rest in peace to Ozzy. Rest in peace to Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan. It's a great couple of guys to grow up and experience, seeing them evolve throughout their careers. I look forward to seeing you, all you commenters, all you viewers, all next week, Tuesday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for another episode of Vikings Uncensored. With that being said, Aubrey and Millie, if you're out there watching, Dad loves and misses you. Skol.
Have a great weekend, everybody.